All right. We are here with the Rebel Republic. And my picture just gets better every time I look at it. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. Next to me, as always, the voice of reason himself. He is making money hand over fist now. Frank Cristiano.
Let's spit some truth out tonight.
And the coach, David Schuman. Coach, how are those chips treating you?
Bag number 3, tremendous.
Oh, it's bag number 3. Good. It's well deserved. Well deserved. You had a very, very long day. So I'm on board with that. A lot going on in the Rebel Republic because you're either with us or you're against us. And
don't put it that way.
No, you are. You're either with us, you're against us.
Don't put it that way.
Well, they put it that way.
They do, and that's what separates them from us.
I'm not accepting.
Oh, okay.
I'm not accepting that.
All right.
You're either with us or against us. I don't see it your way.
I don't like it.
I don't see it your way, and I'm not listening.
You have to be reasonable to get people to come into the fold. You have to present facts.
We do present.
It's facts. It's not so much about compassion. And,
well,
and
I do. Yes, you're not compassionate.
No. You have to.
You fired a person who stole from you instead of giving him a second chance.
Right. That's what I usually do. Someone that puts their hand in my pocket, I give them 6 chances.
Well, no,
I fired a guy one time.
Re-educate him.
I fired a guy one time. I think he's only working like a week and a half, but the guy was nuts. He was off the wall. And
it wasn't Gooner?
No, it wasn't Gooner. It was a different guy, maybe in his 30s at the time. He wouldn't shut the hell up. He's one of those constant 24-hour talkers. He's got to talk to me every 2 seconds. I don't want to talk to you.
Was he asking questions on how to do things?
He was asking questions, giving me answers, telling me about his day. So I'd had enough of him. It was like day 4, day 5, whatever it was, a week maybe. And he's outside and he's wheeling this cart along, and I'm sweating. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm digging something or drilling something into the wall, something like that. And he goes, "Hey, what's going on, man? Working hard or hardly working?" I turned to him right away and I said, "That's you." I said, "You know what? You're fired." I couldn't take it anymore. Working hard or hardly working? Are you kidding me?
How many people have you fired in your day?
Can
you put a number on it?
No, I can't, but it's not a lot. Listen, I am compassionate in that way. Is I do give people second chances, except when they steal from me.
Oh, well, I think, prison, they reform people.
No, like today, I gave my nephew a second chance. I gave my nephew his 15th chance with me.
Joey?
So yes.
Oh, okay.
I had to give him more chances because I said, "Hey, on the chicken today, season it. We're going to throw it in the oven." Just so
Joey was working at your place.
Yeah, he's been working from my place for the last 2 years. So I need you to put light oil, salt, pepper, and lemon juice on the chicken, and then throw it in the oven. No problem. He puts it in. I go in to take it out 25 or 30 minutes later, and he added oregano to it.
Oh,
this isn't Stilopito's Pizzeria.
Well, that wasn't part of what
you oregano on the chicken.
Yeah, you don't put oregano on.
So that was So I had to give him a little bit of instruction, but I gave him another chance.
Okay, you didn't terminate.
I did not terminate him because he's my blood relative. I couldn't do that.
You can't. Okay, so if I were your blood relative, then I wouldn't.
I would dump you on the first moment that you made a mistake. You'd be out the door.
Okay, just for clarification. That's how it works.
As the voice of reason would say, yes.
Okay. Well, so is Joey doing okay to this day? Is he?
Yeah, he's all right, man. He's all right. He's trying. He's got to do more. I think he's going to be a factory worker the rest of his life.
Can you trust him to do more?
I don't know.
Well, he's not going to be a factory.
He's going to be a factory worker the rest of his life. Yep. He's going to have a lunch pail and a hard hat.
No.
You said the horn's going to sound. And that'll be it for him for the day.
Just send him to the trade school.
No, he doesn't. He can't. No.
He can't learn a trade.
He went to trade school for welding. He lasted like 3 months or 4 months. Yeah, he couldn't do it.
Welding, you make a lot of money.
Well, yeah, but you have to get up and actually go to the class, and he was having a hard time with it at the time. So I don't think he's.
He could. He should have just taken.
I think the motivation level's a little low with him.
Well, it's this generation in general.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
It's poor. It's very poor.
Yeah.
Well, you have to understand it's expectations.
Yes.
We go to college. We get our 4-year degree. We're expected to make hundreds of thousands
millions.
of dollars.
Millions are going to come out of
That's
college.
what it means.
Yep.
That's what
with a piece of paper, you're going to make millions.
That's all.
No ambition, no drive, no energy, no personal communication skills.
I had this degree.
I just got this piece of paper.
I had this degree here. I deserve the money.
Get out of here.
Dave. So
yes.
Oh, okay. I signed on. I listened. Now I'm off because I have no idea what we're talking about. We're talking about politics, Dave T. Would you like to talk some politics? and let me know if you like it. How about you have a little patience? Unlike Frank, who just fires people, how about you have a little patience and listen before you go off, because you have no idea what you're talking about. Frank was talking about employing someone at his pizzeria and how he gave him chances, and how he had to fire someone because he annoyed him, and how he fired me 48 times because I annoyed him. That's just the way of the world.
What did you do for?
Oh, I don't even. There's nowhere to start.
He destroyed a $35,000 oven.
Okay, I didn't destroy the $30,000 oven. I may have damaged it slightly.
Yeah, slightly.
It was turning, and
then it wouldn't turn anymore.
You had to fix the turning thing.
Yeah, the turning thing. That's what I had to fix.
It was the oven that made the meatballs.
The wheel, the motor. I had to do the whole motor because you put the pans in the wrong way.
Yeah, I did it. But that's a legendary story.
Legendary.
You'll never have an employee who does that.
No,
again.
I'm sorry, because I'd fire all of them if I figured out they were going to do that. I wouldn't let them near the place.
So Dave, same thing with you. I mean, you've dealt with unruly employees, especially in the coaching world. Coaches are nuts. So as you were at your height, how many coaches were you employing per camp?
Well, when we were running 100 camps, I would say we would have a minimum of probably 6 per camp.
That traveled to all of them?
No. We would have like 2 or 3 kind of same guys that travel like in groups.
That were full-time with you?
Seasonally, yes.
Yes.
So I would say probably about, let's say those guys work 4 events or 5 events each a season. That's probably about 25 guys. I would say that's 75. And then, so probably about close to 100 guys that would be with me seasonally. And then that were there for one event, whatever location in, probably another 300 or 400 guys at the height.
Wow.
Yep.
Jesus.
And I could tell you, having run lots of our goal always with running the at least on the event side was to get more efficient, so we didn't need as many people because
it kills your overhead's huge.
Well, the other thing is you got to manage them. So
right.
When you got a core team of people that were really good, they could actually do a lot more. Meaning,
right.
Before, so when I was, this is pretty interesting. So when I started running events, I started with this core group of guys from New Jersey.
Yeah.
And we ended up at first when we went from like 5 events to 15 events. We took that core group and they went everywhere. We traveled there and we'd pick up like a couple of people locally.
Wherever you went, right.
And we would take like the 4 or 5 guys and we would go everywhere. And we'd bring our own videographers, everything.
Right, to film it, right.
So everything was consistent. And then as it got really big, it went from 15 to 44, which
Jesus.
I remember sitting in that meeting room.
Like 15 from one year to 44 the next year?
Next year. So when I came in there, because we had a training facility where we had a couple of training facilities where we did like athletes, and we had an office that were expanding the event side, right?
Yes.
Like a small back office of a couple of people that basically answered phones and, one full-time person. And what we basically did was I came in there and I said, all right, I have this idea. I said, we did 15 events. It went really well. We had, probably about 3,000 kids. I said, we're going to go to all these cities. And I had to plot it out. I actually did like a PowerPoint presentation to it was my,
got to, yeah.
I wanted to get buy-in that we were going to go for it,
Yeah.
And I said,
go for the gold.
Not only will we take over the industry, but we're going to have a blast. We're going to be in.
Oh, of course.
These guys in their 30s, almost all of them were single at the time.
Yeah, they're young guys. Yeah.
Yeah, and if they were married, they were, I don't know if they had children yet. You know what I mean? So, all young guys, and we just did it, dude.
You were on the road. That's awesome.
And then we went from 44 to 88 the next year.
My God.
Then we were consistently from like 88 to like it varied, but like 110, 120, depending on like for like 3 or
So
4 years. And then
how would you travel to each place?
What happened was we were traveling together. So we used to do it where we would go. When we went from 15 to 44, we were doing back-to-back 2 events a weekend, 22 weekends. We would be like in Columbus, Ohio, and then Lexington, Kentucky. Let's say.
So you'd make it within driving distance.
It would be we'd fly somewhere, usually within driving distance, but sometimes it would be a fly.
Wow.
I mean, yes. And we would be, you would go from one airport and you'd be to run the event, blah, blah, blah. And we used to do 2 sessions a day too. Back then, there were so many kids.
Oh my God.
And we would sprint to the airport. I mean, guys were showering, like not showering, but like cleaning themselves up in the airport, hop on the next plane, be at the next place, get to the hotel, fall asleep at like midnight, wake up, back again.
And back at it. Oh my God. So you were living like a rock and roller.
We were like, yes. And a lot of guys,
the rock stars.
Definitely the first couple of years of it, we would all like, we get somewhere, we go out. You know what I mean? So
well, of course. You got to.
You go out and then you get in like 2 a.m. or whatever. You know, you go out and like have a drink or whatever, a couple of drinks, sometimes more than that. And then you'd go to sleep and you'd wake up at 6 a.m., run the events. But it was the same crew at that time. So
yeah,
we had it down pat. But then we expanded it and took guys that were local and we trained them at the
to run it.
We went to, and we split up into teams. And that's how we were able to go to 88 to 100 events.
Right.
We got local guys. And then eventually, as I got really greedy in what I wanted to do, I wanted to my goal was to have, and my goal at the time was there would be no place in America that a kid could be from that they weren't close enough to go to events
to get to yours. Yes.
So they get recruited. So we could get information on them and get recruited. So we were doing Alaska. We were doing Hawaii.
You did a camp in Alaska?
Yes. We did Canada. We did Toronto. We did we did, I mean, you'd be hard pressed. We did Montana.
Every state. Oh my God.
At one point. We did Montana. We ended up finding in Montana.
There's talent in Montana. I recruited Idaho. I found kids in Idaho and Nebraska.
Idaho, we used to do Boise. We used to do I mean, you name it, we did it.
Wow.
There wasn't a place. Like we plotted along the map. Like every kind of we did like a MSA, like the top 100, whatever it was. City.
Yeah.
A long time ago. I'm trying to recollect exactly how we did, but it was something like that. We took the
But
MSA.
you never stayed out. You never stayed out during the week. It was always only weekends.
It was weekends. Well, when we got to our height, we were leaving like on like a Thursday night, doing like training on Friday with the kids, Saturday an event, Sunday an event. But when we got to the height, we were actually in one place the whole weekend because we had so many kids at one point. Yeah. So we would be like, so the teams were all in a place. So I don't know, let's say I had a team, I probably did like 10 weekends or something. Another guy would do like 10 weekends, you know, at a different location.
How many trusted confidants did you have to run these?
I had a good amount.
10?
You know, I'm much like Frank. It's not too different than a pizza joint. You had got people putting their hands in the kitty. Yeah, you had. That was where problems started to happen. Yeah,
that's when you would notice it because you can't be
easy. You just do everything by credit card.
Well, that's where we went to. We
went to cashless.
Everything was online. My very first couple of years of events, we basically did almost everything was that day sign up.
Yeah. And you would get the walk-ins that day.
But we moved away from walk-ins because that's where the funny money thing would happen once we got big. Like when I was at the events, it was never an issue. And then like my kind of right-hand people really was an issue. But once we expanded it to a next level, and it was interesting. I always tell. I think I told Steve this. I might have told Frank. I don't know. When I realized there were some people putting their hands in the kitty jar, was we used to get a lot of walk-ups, and this is before everything went completely digital.
Right.
Let's say 10 to 20 walk-ups at every event, no matter what. And all of a sudden, one of the locations was coming in with like one walk-up. in a pretty heavily
knew.
area,
Yeah.
you know, like for events. I'm like, God, this is just fishy. So
And it was a girl, right?
It was hard to prove it because they would get rid of the card. They would get they wouldn't know. This is how we started to know. We were counting the cards and it wasn't matching the number of
kids. Yeah.
We're I'm like, I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying, like, you got 95 kids with cards, 85 kids with registrations, right? You know, and usually it would be like, you know, 80 paid online and, you know, you get like 10 or 20 walk-ups, you know, or 100 paid online and you get 10. But there was a despair, and I was like, and we started seeing it in a lot of events.
Wasn't it a girl you said that was doing it?
That was a different thing.
Oh.
That was hard to prove. You couldn't really know because we sold gear at events.
Yeah, with the merchandise, which you couldn't account for.
Yeah, I used to love all of that because it was great cash and that stuff. And
did the person who was handling the registrations and the gear selling travel with you to every location?
At one time they did, yes.
Okay.
So
I was going to say that would have been the best because, you know, you figure you could trust that person.
That's correct. But then we trained, like, she trained like 3 other people who were really good. But what happened was when the event started going and everything got saturated. Well, basically, we saturated it. I'm the one that saturated. Everybody locally learned from
everyone copied your model. Yeah.
There was no events in Salt Lake City. There was no events in Boise. No. There was I mean, I don't even know if there's events in Alaska anymore anyway. But there were no events in Hawaii. Like my guys in Hawaii, like after I started running them, all of a sudden I looked up and they were running events, you know? So there were no events in Hawaii. We discovered Marcus Mariota. I mean, no one knew who he was. Not that Hawaii didn't have good players. They did. They had some really good players out there. So what happened was the helper guys to our main guys that we taught, their helper guys, they were only working a couple of events, 1 or 2 events, and they were like, hey, you know, I see the model.
Yeah.
Why don't I just do my
I
own?
can do it myself.
Yeah, there's no copyright. Why do I need you? There's no copyright on it. Yep.
Yeah, I'll pick up $5,000 myself. So what happens is enough people do that. Enough people kind of see it. Doesn't matter whether it's good or not.
And then the schools started doing it too.
High school coaches would do it for themselves, right?
Yeah.
Well, the biggest change
was the one-day recruiting camps for the colleges.
Yes. The satellite camps. That was the beginning of the end of the camp business for everyone, basically.
Yeah.
Because, you know, now, I mean, the big schools make money, but everything's a one-dayer. It's a pain in the ass for everybody.
$100 for one day. Yep. And Harbaugh was breaking the rules by going to Alabama, saying his staff was employed by Stanford, and that's how he was recruiting the other states. He pissed everyone off. One of the donors gave him a Learjet to use. What would you say your peak was, the peak of your business?
I mean,
running camps. Yeah. Yeah.
It was like, I would say from 2010 to 2015.
That's where you were rocking and rolling and killing it.
Yeah, because I remember my son was born in 2009, so 2015.
Yeah.
So I remember that year after that season, I met with all the team. I flew them in and met with all the team leaders. So obviously we were still rolling pretty good at that point, still in 2016 to 17. But 16 was when it began to start to decline.
Yeah.
And 7-7 also at the same time was rising.
That's when it picked up.
Part of it. There was a lot of things, but the satellite camps was the biggest thing. And the reason why I remember, because Chris Partridge was the head coach at No, he wasn't. He just stepped down. He had just went with Harbaugh to Michigan. Chris Partridge was the head coach of Paramus Catholic. He had Jabril Peppers and all.
Correct. Yes.
So Chris went to Michigan. Chris called me up. He said, "Hey, I'm coming back. Satellite camp." He's like, "I want you to see what we're doing, with the satellite camps." And Chris and me always got along great, But he was saying it like, "Hey, man, like you ran all these camps, like,
Look, we're doing what you're doing.
It's great. It's great. Come see it." But he wasn't thinking of it like in a, it's great. I came there. There was 1,200 kids there, and I realized that is the end of my business, because I sat there and I said, if a coach from Michigan go from place to place, drawing 1,200 people,
no one's going to come to ours.
No one's coming to this stuff in
Yeah.
the same capacity anymore. Not the same
Yeah.
capacity. Not high school kids. So, and then every college is going to have to do it too. They're going to have to do the same thing, and it becomes an arms race, and then everybody's squeezed out, and then everyone's fighting over getting 100 kids to their camp, which is basically what it's at now. So,
Yep.
Wow.
That's the genesis. Well, I mean, that's a short-winded version of it all, but it's.
How many years total did it run? Did you run it?
We still run camps. We still run them, but
right. But when you started
at the high level from 2008. We went to 44 camps in 2008, probably to about 2000. I would say COVID was the death of it.
Yeah.
And then we had a little resurgence, like when we were one of the first events to come back out, like a little bit in 2020. So I thought, oh, maybe it was no different than the false resurgence that a lot of people had when they first came back to in business. They thought, oh, we're going to do great, but it was really just kind of a boost because nobody was doing anything.
Nobody had been out yet. Nobody was doing anything.
A little 1 year boost, but really, I would say 2018, 2019, that time frame was really when it kind of.
But now you understand 7-on-7.
Oh, I mean, I've run like 6 or 7 events.
That's where you make a lot of money.
I mean, everything now is part. It used to be the combines were literally all we had to do back in the day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what everyone did. Yeah.
We didn't have to do anything else. And but now I got to do different things. My business requires different things because I can't run 100 events anymore.
No.
And it was amazing though at the time. I mean, literally at one point, I haven't really looked this year, but at one point it was like 30% of the NFL had come from my events.
Oh my God.
30%.
That's incredible.
I was doing the numbers in each team, and it was like some teams had half. So it was a crazy number. And then it's probably going to start to obviously fade the more we get into less years of it. But yeah, it was a crazy number. Like at one time, I think of the 20, what is it like Division I? You were 2,800 scholarships or something total. I can't remember what the number was.
It was 85 total out of 130
of them ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, you knew not ourselves, but I mean, kids came through our programs.
Right.
We would track it all, and it was like it was a crazy number. It was a bonkers number, and then. But like anything,
once you have a proven track record like that. But that's what going into this, first of all, we have Day T who said the fundamental problem of democracy, half of the voters have a below average IQ. I agree with that. I think you should have to pass a test to vote because so many people are ignorant.
Well, isn't that an issue in any country, whether you're a democracy or not?
But it kills you.
The democracy gives people who
the right,
the opportunity, and we're not
educated. They're not educated.
We're a republic. Frank, you agree with me, right?
I agree 100%. We're not a democracy. We are a republic.
Right.
Also, you have to look at it.
What's the difference?
What's the difference? A democracy means everybody's input at all times counts, and everyone's and everyone's views on economics. Everything is fair game.
Well, then
it's open. Everything is open and fair game.
So I want the doggy day.
No. Okay. A republic has more stringent rules. A republic is more centered around states, around smaller government. Well, it does, but
elected leaders.
Yeah, everything right, correct. Okay. Everything has a structured system.
Okay,
and it's harder to break the rules, and it's harder to expand as open as democracy wants to be. It's not. Everyone that's what people have to realize. Not everyone's opinion is worthy of even thought.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Right.
You could say whatever you want to say.
Right.
But if you have no skin in the game, your opinion means nothing.
Yeah. No one's
okay. So. But you got to realize something. Whether you are
allowed an opinion,
right? They're just like we know, right? We know they're just like assholes, right? Everyone's got one. The problem is this: whether you are the smartest guy in the room,
right,
or the dumbest guy in the room,
true.
In this country, as long as you pull a lever, you have a say.
You have a say.
It's a small say. So whether you're educated or uneducated, it doesn't matter.
No, that's why I think you should have to pass a test.
So unions are the best at educating their members
Right.
on what they want them to do, not on what is correct,
No,
but on what
how
they want them to do.
benefit the union.
Okay.
Yes.
So that is more of a democratic, liberal
Yes.
view
Yes.
on life
Yes.
as a union structure.
Yes. Understood.
Non-union people, okay, they get educated, okay, in life. They get educated in how do they make money? How do they go to work? How do they create businesses by themselves? How do they? So it's a totally different thought process. But there's stupid people everywhere.
I know there are.
That doesn't make
I know there are.
And what criteria makes someone stupid? Who knows?
That's why I said you need to have a test.
Some of the people I thought were stupidest are the smartest people around. The ones that don't say anything, those are the guys you got to watch out for first. The ones that don't talk, they probably have a lot more knowledge than the ones that are shooting their mouth off.
The smartest people don't talk.
Right. So, but I just, you have to realize, like, take what's been going on this past week, 2 weeks. All right, we're 2 weeks in.
Well, the tariffs, that's what I wanted to talk about.
Tariffs, listen, but there's so much more than that. See,
there's so much more than that. People are very angry about it.
They're angry about it because they're uneducated.
Oh.
Okay, so if we want to talk about stupid people, let's talk about stupid people talking about tariffs that they know nothing about.
Okay.
It's also about negotiation with Trump because now he's put a stay on the tariffs, meaning he's not going to implement it right now.
30-day stay because he wants to see what happens.
Right.
He wants to, it's part of a negotiation to get the countries, Mexico and Canada, who are there. Maybe there are things that they're doing that aren't fair to our country, to get them to the table to discuss those things. And if they don't want to come to, and China as well, if they don't want to come to the table and discuss, which they do, but sometimes people have to get forced into a discussion, meaning
they do.
Well, it's one of these things where they've been high on the hog, man, for the last, they can make cars, there's no cost for, they can go lower on pay their workers less and still get all the benefits of the American economy, right?
Correct.
But our people don't get the benefits of it.
But you got to realize that this whole tariff issue was basically, okay, over immigration and border security.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Take, for example, Canada. Basically, okay, 90% of any terrorist activity in this country comes through Canada.
Because it's easy.
9 out of 10.
Yes.
9 out of 10. 9 out of 10 known terrorists on watch lists that may have been found and or not, still loose, come through Canada.
Right.
Canada's immigration system is so lax,
very loose.
So you have people in this country don't have any idea. So bottom line, right now there are over 50,000 visas that have been issued to students in Canada from other countries. So you have a visa, you come over and you study.
Oh,
those 50,000+ visas have zero attendance in colleges.
They just got them into the country.
That is correct.
Wow.
So now you have 50, 60,000 roaming Canada unaccounted for. And this is the problem. So this is problem number one that this administration is trying to curtail. Number two, Dave is correct. If you don't squeeze somebody's nuts in negotiation up front, you'll never get them to the table.
Right.
The mafia always did it right.
Right.
They'd kidnap your kid.
Right.
Right. And they tell you, you're going to either agree to the demands or we kill your kid.
Right.
That sort of action makes it go fast and makes people aware and attentive.
Right.
This in politics, no one wants to do that.
No
politician has the balls to do that.
No.
Because they know they will lose either votes or money, funding, whatever it may be. They're going to lose that.
Whatever they want to get through,
because you can't make everybody happy in that politics, right? Especially when there's money involved. But bottom line now, you have a guy in office who doesn't give a shit.
No.
He doesn't care.
Well, he said the 10,000 troops that he put.
He's got enough money
in Mexico.
He's got enough money. Okay. Yeah. He doesn't. No one's going to put a squeeze on him. He doesn't care what people think. He's going to do what he feels is the right thing, which is good.
Yes.
So now, all of a sudden, within 48 hours, both of these nations, Canada and Mexico, have snapped into reality, and each one is promising 10,000
border troops.
Canada and Mexico. Canada will work in conjunction with U.S. border security.
Right.
Canada will increase the security presence and the stoppage of fentanyl coming across in higher amounts.
They're trying
to patrol.
Yes.
Right. Then they'll do better.
But they said it comes from China.
No, it's produced in China, shipped
right.
over, but it's comes through northern and southern borders.
Oh, okay.
All right,
come through ours.
Right. So no, it comes through.
No.
It comes through our border. It comes
does
through
eventually.
Yeah, again, it gets into the U.S. through either Mexico or Canada, or maybe through shipping that's coming over here from China.
I didn't know that.
But bottom line, Mexico all of a sudden, within 48 hours,
here we'll give you 10,000 troops.
Here it comes. We're going to give you troops. We're going to give you security. We're going to work on identifying and marking the cartels to stop the flow of traffic, to stop the drugs coming across the border, just like that.
It's because he's squeezing their nuts.
Frank, you know what it's like, and you know it's because you're coach.
It's the nut squeezing.
Well, you know, I use it like this: like if you. Like, let's say your team isn't playing very well, and you want them to play well, and you go, "You guys aren't playing well." Guess how many of them listen?
Yeah, none. 0. Yeah.
No, you got to be positive.
But if you grab the guy that isn't playing well, and you tell him, "I expect you to play better than you're playing right now."
Right. Or we're going to slap a tariff and put you on the bench.
That's correct. Your tariff is you're going to the bench. Now, are we clear? And you know what happens? That person then understands that, right? So when we're saying, if it was just to say, hey, you know, it's not fair, all the money you're getting free, you know, they're not going to do anything. But when he says, you know what? I guess we're not listening to what I was saying. So what I'm saying to you now is 5% tariff.
Right.
Are going to be implemented.
Dave, can you put some cotton balls in your mouth when you're saying that, like Don Corleone? That's right. We have a trade imbalance. We have a trade imbalance with Canada. So basically, we're imbalance. That means we are at a $46 billion deficit with Canada right now. Because Canada puts...
We owe them that?
No, we lose that in the trade in the trade business.
Yes, okay.
We basically, the tariffs that are put on by Canada on butter, on Canadian bacon, on lumber, they have high tariffs coming in. Okay, and we pay that. All right, but
if we were to sell our products to them, Steve, they would take 25 additional percent, put it on, let's say, our bacon.
Our stuff.
They want them to buy, I guess, Canadian. You know, I don't know if they call it Canadian bacon in Canada, but you know, Canadian bacon, right?
Well, it's labeled Canadian now.
So we don't make as much money because they charge our stuff at a higher.
And we don't charge them on the flip side. So
right. Wow.
We run a deficit. And
that seems really
you're looking at that, and you're looking at these people. Starting with the media. The media is the one, again, that spreads this misinformation to its loyal followers. You know what? All of them do. Misinformation. Everyone is crying. Oh, my God. It's going to cost this to buy this. And they don't understand what it's going to cost the U.S.
I'm not going to be able to live.
Well, if that's the case, and it was so bad, and it was going to be bad for us, why is Mexico and Canada conceding right now and writing up to all these demands that the U.S. is putting onto the table?
Because they know Trump has power.
No, they know that
do what he says.
They know that
says what he does.
They know that these tariffs will be detrimental. It could be catastrophic for Canada.
The 25%.
25%. He could raise it to 50%.
He can do whatever he wants.
Do you know right now the value of the Canadian dollar to the U.S. dollar?
What's it like?
67 cents.
Jesus.
Okay.
Wow.
67 cents to a U.S. dollar. All these tariffs did within the last 3 days, and especially when the market opened up today, it made the greenback stronger.
Right.
It made the U.S. dollar value because you're going to buy more with it.
Is it the same with euros too?
Euros, we are 1-to-1.
We are 1-to-1.
It's 1.01 to $1.
Wow.
To a euro. Because you know why?
It never used to be.
You know what other economy is in the toilet right now and could belly up? The European economy.
Well, you said that. You said in Italy they just wait to get checks from the government.
The European economies are so upside down, starting with Germany. Germany is in a severe crisis right now.
Germany. Too many migrants and refugees.
That is without a doubt one of the major problems with the country, along with huge tax increases.
Correct.
Listen, 45% tax rate. All right, 45 cents every dollar goes to the government of your net income. Okay, property tax.
Your income tax
30%. 30% property tax. Whatever your house is, 30%. Sales tax, 19% VAT tax, sales tax.
Say that again.
19% sales tax. 19%. That's what you're paying sales tax. That's Germany.
Don't we pay like 8 here?
We pay by county. They pay by nation.
Right.
19,
isn't it like it's single digits though?
19%. Okay.
Oh my God.
So bottom line, those are just a few right there. Okay. So
why do they do that?
They do that because they have school for free. They have medical coverage. Is not totally free, but it's free. It's universal coverage.
Right.
They have maybe they got the 4-day work week like France.
Well,
maybe they have to support government pensions,
the public transportation,
everything. So and they churn and they need more and they need more and they need more and they need more. So bottom line, where can they squeeze it from? They got to squeeze it from the people paying taxes. At some point, at some point, you're going to be in a deficit as a human being in your household.
Yeah,
because you're paying more out than it's coming in.
Yeah, you can't live.
Yeah, so you got to realize these tariffs. You know how bad it would be for Canada for these tariffs right now? How bad it would be for Canada, 25% tariff. So Canada right now.
They get that much from us?
What's that?
They get that many goods in certain.
No, that's what he wants to put on. That's the stone hanging over Canada's head right now.
Exactly.
25% tariff.
But that would be on our goods going to them.
Right. We would sell, if they want to buy our goods, it's going to be at 25% on minimum. On some other things, it'd probably be more. But bottom line, Canada's dollar is so devalued.
Right.
Canada's inflation is through the roof, and their unemployment is in double digits.
How's it worse than ours?
What?
It's worse than ours?
What?
Their inflation?
It's massive.
Wow.
It's massive because their dollar is worth nothing.
Yeah, yes. Their dollar is worth nothing.
Paper. It's worth nothing. You might as well go get some yen. Okay, or wands or whatever they call them in China. So bottom line, their dollar's worth nothing. Their inflation is sky high.
Well, how come they're not rioting?
Property is sky high.
There's no property there. It's all woodlands.
Listen, to buy a home in Canada right now is almost impossible. It's almost impossible because of what it costs.
Really?
Yes, the value of homes is through the roof.
Well, I can see in the cities.
To build the permits and regulations you have to go through in Canada, you might as well cut your throat instead of building.
It's a lot of red tape.
Okay, so here's a perfect example. So there's a pipeline that goes from Alberta all the way to the eastern part of Ontario, in Canada. It got built years ago. Trudeau's policies, eco policies, shut that pipeline down. There's no direct line from Alberta going into eastern Canada. Okay, for oil.
That's why I'm saying, how come the Canadian people aren't as vocal and volatile as ours are?
Number one, because I think their media shuts down a lot of stuff. There's a huge and groundswell and base of people that are disgusted with the way Canada is going because they can't afford to live there. But bottom line, there's a pipeline that goes west to east that brings oil. That's shut down. They can't use it, because of regulations. There are other pipelines that go from the west that go all the way down into the U.S. So the U.S. buys oil from Canada. The U.S. uses 19 million barrels a day, I think it is, of oil in this country. Okay, 15 million we produce ourselves, 4 million we have to buy. We buy it from Canada.
We buy it from Canada.
But we buy unrefined oil from Canada. We don't buy refined oil. We refine it ourselves in our refineries. Canada has no refineries. They have no capability. Canada does not have refinery capabilities. Not enough. Not nearly enough to what they need. So they ship the oil down to us. We buy it. We refine it. Okay. Right. We use it here in the U.S. and then we ship what they need to Eastern Ontario, Eastern Canada.
We give it back to them,
and they buy it.
Wow!
Because they have no direct oil. They've got no direct pipeline to bring oil to them, and they have no refineries. So bottom line, they're going to send oil to us. We would have to pay their tariff if they're going to slap tariff. And then we got to ship it back to them. They're going to pay the tariff coming back. And they're going to get destroyed with that tariff.
Dave, how long is Canada? I mean, do you know that have they been a mess for like a long time?
Well, what part of it is the mess with Canada?
Well, the inflation and
state,
building houses, and it seems like they got a lot of issues. I thought Canadians are always happy, and the Mounties and all that going on.
Maple syrup,
So that none of that's true. Like they're frustrated.
I remember they were fun at the nightclubs.
Yeah. Montreal, yeah.
Well, Toronto too. But I can tell you this: the thing that I know about Canada is the fact that the government is so far to the left, so
very
socialistic. Everything is government-based programs. which is meant that like if you're a business owner, it's very difficult because you're taxed incredibly high. Okay, yeah, your income tax is taxed incredibly high. It was one of the reasons why when I got offered to go play in Canada, I didn't go. They're like, it's 50%.
No, I know they pay you. You get paid horribly. Yeah,
now, but it was probably 50% back then.
It was awful. Yeah.
So it's like, wait a minute, what am I paying for? Play for $20,000? I mean,
it's crazy.
So
you get taxed by the Americans too.
Right, of course. And so what happens is the country is in a situation where there's very little upward mobility in Canada.
Right.
And the housing, if you've been to Canada, you've been to Canada a lot, or I've been to Canada.
Yeah, I mean, I've been.
I have relatives in Niagara Falls. We go a lot. We're across the border.
Toronto and Montreal.
When you go to like the different areas of Canada, like outside of the cities and stuff, you see people.
It's very rural.
Housing, there's like most of the housing is like right along the highway.
Yeah,
it's like it's part of like this whole group of houses. It's not like in America where you have like all these streets and
no,
because of the way that everything is. And what Frank talked about, the housing is very unaffordable. So if you move outside of any of these areas just to live and operate is very, very, very costly.
Yeah, and isn't half the country unlivable?
Well, I'm saying if you live, unless you're going to live off the land, which people like in Edmonton do, or Alberta, maybe, I guess.
Yeah.
If you're going to willing to live off the land, which is usually for very little money, you probably have very little money. That's the only way. But if you're looking to live like where you go to a grocery store, it's not like in America where you have like, it's just a totally different stuff. So they also have a huge issue with, and I just know from back in the day of business, anytime you do business with Canada, it is a process where it's a take from their side and nothing is given to you from your side. Like they don't give nothing to you. If
they just expect,
there's no purpose in almost doing business. Anytime I've ever done business with Canada,
you get no benefit out of it.
Everything is and then they're like, oh no, I don't want it to be that way. It's like, no, it's one-sided. Like there's no, and that's kind of their philosophy. So I think what Trump did is really good because they take in general. If you think of the culture of Canada, they're still part of the British Empire, right?
They are very much so.
Still supports
them. The French too.
Well,
like the French Canadians, right?
Quebec is like just a French.
It's a Canadian province that doesn't want to be Canadian anymore. Quebec would love to secede from the country and become its own country.
Yeah,
it's really what they would. Right,
Quebec
so it's a whole other set of issues too, and within their own country.
Right.
It's funny because the other, like the issue that everybody, all these other countries get all upset about, like Denmark with Greenland, like Trump, wants Greenland, and he's like,
he wants to buy it.
He wants to buy it. Like it's in our interest to buy it. Like, what's the price for it? We want to hold on to Greenland for what? What do you want to hold on to Greenland for? There's
just ice.
People that live there. I mean, and they're all probably scientists, is my guess, for the most part.
It's only 40,000 people that live there.
Yes, and those people they're dipping. They're dipping temperature things into the water. Oh yes, we're losing. We're
studying stuff. They're ice fishing. They're ice
fishing, and then they're studying how much the glaciers are dropping in water.
If the U.S. buys it, Trump will put Trump Greenland there. He'll have a casino, a hotel, ice rinks. You'd have skating areas. You'd have slalom. It'd be awesome. He would make best winter. They would have the Olympics in Greenland.
I wanted to let Frank know this because you seem to be right. Wisconsin.
I know I'm right.
Well, the Wisconsin governor rejects the GOP draft bill requiring local law enforcement to help ICE agents. He says it's a non-starter.
Right.
Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers' office is already rejecting efforts by state Republicans to require law enforcement to assist federal immigration officers in identifying and detaining illegal immigrants. Why would he do that?
Wait till Trump slaps the 25% tariff on Wisconsin. Wait till the funding gets pulled away.
Why would he come right out and say that?
Wait till the federal funding gets pulled away from any state that decides to not cooperate.
They'll come on their
with
knees
what they're doing for this ICE policy. Wait! I want to see how tough these governors are, how tough these mayors are, I want to see how tough they are.
Yeah.
Right now, it's like, you know what? It's like
state aid by 15%.
Mike Tyson. Wow. It's what Mike Tyson always says. What does he say? Everybody's tough until you get punched into the face.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what I want to see right now, because what's going to happen is, as soon as they hold back from this policy, and I feel bad. Here's where
you do feel bad.
No. Here's why I feel bad.
Oh,
I have many African American friends, many Hispanic friends, and some of them are on Facebook, and they come back to me like, some guy posted about Trump, and then I posted, hey, he's done more in 4 days than Biden did in 4 years.
Yeah, you responded to Dom saying that too.
Yeah. So but one of the responses there was like, he got rid of DEI and affirmative action. Now, do you know, Dave, did affirmative action go away along with DEI?
See, I didn't think it did.
No,
I don't think it did either. Right. No. I don't think it did either. So, but anyways,
one doesn't affect the other.
Right. So he got rid of DEI. So basically what this is now, it's a race war against color, against color, the color of your skin, whether you're African American or whether you're Hispanic.
You think he created that?
No, this is what a section of minorities think, that this is a race war,
right?
And then the valid points came up. Well, then they got rid of the Black Panthers and they got rid of DEI, but they didn't get rid of the KKK. Why didn't they get rid of the KKK? Why doesn't Trump? All those the KKK supporters, they support Trump. And my thing, and I thought about it for a minute. I go, that's a good point. Why didn't they get rid of the KKK? But then I'm thinking, why didn't Biden get rid of the KKK? Why didn't Barack Obama with 8 years get rid of the KKK?
You can't.
You can.
It's freedom of religion and freedom of demonstration.
You can label the KKK a terrorist organization, and you put a mandate out as president. You say you want to eliminate KKK,
but they're not a terrorist organization.
Oh, how do you know that?
They're not responsible for any massive.
Sure, they are.
They're very small now, so it's not like.
But still, but you could eliminate. But my point is, you could eliminate them. You could eliminate them.
So you're saying that he could have eliminated KKK as opposed to DEI.
At least the organizational structure of KKK. You can't eliminate racism, because some people just are born.
Well, no, it's innately born into.
They're born into it, or they just have a problem mentally, and that's where they are, right?
Yeah.
But bottom line, you could eliminate the structural organizations of the KKK.
Yeah,
you just write a decree and you eliminate. But if that's the case,
they could just establish under another name.
That's fine. But what I'm saying is, at least, but that's the whole thing with the Democratic Party. They just want to see the effort.
Oh.
They want to see the social effort.
Yes.
Well, what I noticed that some of the people are doing with DEI now, like
Joy.
Well, I heard someone calling it now the Department of something and Opportunity. They're shifting some of the overall objectives away from equity, okay, and more. I don't have a huge problem. This Department of Opportunity, I can't. What does that entail? Yeah,
but that should be open to everybody,
as long as it's equitable.
That should be open to everybody. Absolutely.
Yeah. But see, that's not the case. What the case is that these people, and when I say these people, I'm not trying to insult them. I'm just saying that segment, especially I don't even think of the African American community. I'm talking more like the LGBTQ plus, the transgenders,
they're part of DEI.
That is DEI. There was no.
Oh, I didn't know that.
There wasn't DEI, but I never remember hearing DEI before 2020.
I thought DEI was strictly minority related.
Well, it is. You can include African Americans, you include Hispanics, you include Native Americans, you include all of those
transgenders. But
I think it's that segment that exploded onto the scene is very small in numbers, but is demanding a lot. And they just come out of the closet. Let's say, I'm not saying that in facetious way. They've come out now, and here they are, and they want this, and this. Their action demands. It's like they're holding us hostage. They're holding the average American citizen hostage. So I don't understand the angle on that. Why that has to be so prevalent that we have to scramble for that. Now, affirmative action and hiring practices and all that, there's got to be some kind of a structure on that, because is there racism in corporate hiring? I don't know if it's direct racism, but I know it's a good old boys network. And I know it's hard for people to break through.
I don't know if you did, Dave, but as a sociology major, I took the only one white racism class offered in the United States.
What is a white racism class?
It was a white racism class at UConn.
At UConn.
Social. It was taught by.
That was to have him eligible to play football for his junior year.
It was the greatest class I ever took. It was the greatest class I ever took. Noel Kasnave was the professor. I was just curious if you
were the only white guy in the class.
No,
there were white people in the class.
What was the premise of the class?
Well, to teach us that we were all racist. White people are innately all racist. It's not our fault.
It was an actual class at UConn.
It was one of two at the time that were offered. Us, and there was one offered in California. The class was called White Racism.
There's another class called How to Eat 60 Hot Dogs in 8 Minutes.
And he was basically saying that he showed several examples that innately white people are born racist with racist attitudes. It's not our fault. It's just we're born that way.
That's bullshit.
And that's how we are raised.
Other races.
Well, he showed a couple examples. One of them was getting an apartment. They videoed a guy who was trying to find tenants for his apartment, and he treated the white people who came in completely different than he treated the black people. Another was someone selling his car. They did a sociological experiment, videoed that. He treated the white people completely different than he treated the black people.
Let's go to a different country. So let's say you're in China and you are a white person. They were showing you an apartment versus a Chinese person showing it to another Chinese person.
Do Chinese people hate white people? I have racism towards
a person who doesn't. I would argue this. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. Okay, I'm saying that some of this is perception, how people perceive things to be. Okay, yeah. We all have things that we're biased for.
Well, they tried to make it, like a control group and a regular group. Like the white couple and the black couple were the same. Like same socioeconomical and all that.
Control group.
You can see this
sounds like slavery.
You could see that they were treated completely different. That's what was amazing.
Listen, I don't believe in straight racism. I believe that racism is basically just fear of the unknown. Okay, so if you're a white kid and you live in a white suburban community and all your neighbors are white and the school you go to is predominantly, if not totally white, you have not shared the dinner table, the athletic field, the locker rooms.
Correct.
The playground. You haven't shared that with a minority, an African American, a Hispanic, or whoever.
Absolutely.
So now you've done 18 years of this. And all of a sudden, you get a scholarship to North Carolina A&T.
Well,
right, as a white guy,
I don't think you could.
Sure, you could.
No,
there are white students on
the team.
Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. At the HBC schools.
Yes,
I didn't know
absolutely they do. Absolutely do. Yes. So you get a scholarship, right? So now you've taken the scholarship, and all of a sudden you are surrounded by African Americans, basically, right? Predominantly. Are you not shitting your pants initially?
Yeah.
I mean, unless you are totally open and you're a California surfer dude, you're shitting your pants because you've never seen a black kid.
No,
you've never interacted with them. No. You don't understand their talk. You don't eat their food. You don't drink their drink. You don't listen to their music. Basically, okay.
No, you're a fish out of water.
And I'm not saying this in a bad way or a racist way. I'm just saying that's what it is.
You're a fish out of water.
So that's where now all of a sudden it depends how you take it as a human.
Right.
Okay.
How you respond.
You respond positive. You try to meld in as best as you can. You accept the jokes that come at you that are racist jokes towards you.
Right.
And you move on. And because you're an adult.
Yeah.
Or
you're not an adult,
you are. If you're over 18, you're an adult.
Well, not really.
If you take the remarks in the wrong way, now you become jaded.
Yeah.
Now you become hateful. You become suspicious. You become angry.
You conspiracy.
You become a racist.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's basically
you disagree that it's born in you.
I would have loved. They've done those studies. They take young 4-year-old, 3-year-old, 5-year-old African American children and white children. They put them in a playground together. Those kids play forever. They don't know shit.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, when they grow up, when they grow up, their parents are like, that little boy over there, or that
I
little.
don't even think, like, for example, I don't think my kid. He might now, maybe.
Well, you have more diversity where you are.
No.
You
No,
don't.
where I
Okay.
grew up, yes. Where I grew up.
Okay. Right.
But where
Right.
we live now, I wouldn't say a ton of it. But
well, what about where Lenny?
My son, I mean, I wonder now if he does know one race to the other, if, like, just from
they teach it in school now.
I'm saying the only way he would know. So what I'm saying is, until he entered school, okay, he didn't even know. He didn't know one difference. I'm telling you.
No, you wouldn't. No,
he went to, like, we played it like, even when he played on his first teams, and there were kids from different, like, ethnicities or races. He doesn't know. He probably still doesn't, unless a kid has said something and he asked a question. But that's the only way he would know, because it's never spoken, like it's not like part of our discussion and how we, like, do anything, and it's not how we, like, treat people. You know what I mean? So
right.
I always wonder. I wonder if I asked him
what he would say, how he would respond.
Fourth grade, I bet you maybe he might just be
see it a little bit more.
No, I'm saying, like, hearing people talking, like,
right.
Oh, that kid over there, he's a that's a black kid or an African American or a Spanish kid, like, and then see if some kid talks like that whose home does just discuss it more that way. But I'm saying my kid really didn't. I was actually like,
he's never brought it up, never mentioned anything.
Still never has. I'm just saying, I don't know. He may now know. He just hasn't said anything. But, like, or maybe he just is not even sure.
Right.
But, like, I bet you if you would ask him, he would just think that this person has a better tan than that person.
Did Cutler ever say anything growing up?
No, I mean, the Cutler fits in with anyone, but Cutler's a timid kid.
Yeah.
So if he's with inner city kids, he shells right up.
Oh, so he notices right away.
Notices what?
Whether the people that are around him.
Well, yeah, he's 18, man. If he doesn't know who's black and white now,
like,
when he's Hispanic now.
When he was younger.
Not as much. Not as much.
But as he got older, he did.
But as he got older, he knows, because, and he just, my kid's a timid kid, so he clams up around those situations. It takes him a long time.
He doesn't know how to act.
And honestly, whether it's the white or minority, if he doesn't know you right off the bat, he's not one of those dudes. Hey man, let's go. Let's puts a hand out.
He's not an introvert. He's an introvert. He's not an extrovert.
A little bit, right? He's not an extrovert, no, without a doubt.
Right.
But my thing is, the only way to overcome this is socioeconomics.
Right.
Okay. So until my neighbors are African American, my neighbors are Hispanic, my neighbors are Indian, whatever it may be. We all watch each other's kids. We all have the cookouts together. We all then we all have assimilated to each other, and we all know who each other is, and we're all socioeconomically kind of on that same level.
You guys do in your neighborhood. You did.
We're okay. But my neighborhood has no African Americans.
No, I know, but I'm saying that you were very close.
Only place in the world that, for the most part, will have diversity within communities and not have a ton of problems. Okay.
Right.
I'm not talking like inner city, which probably is, where a lot of crime is in general, is probably in general more minority. But I'm saying in more integrated communities, it's probably one of the only places in the world that you have a lot more integrated communities. Because even these countries like Germany or England, England is very integrated in the cities, but I would bet my bottom dollar if you went out to the suburbs, it was not the same way.
Germany was pretty integrated too.
In the cities.
Yeah, but they were actually from Africa. There were a lot of Africans in Germany.
Because they have a different type of refugees. Like, like.
But they're not in the same socioeconomic status as the traditional Germans that were there.
Correct.
So that creates the unknown, that creates the fear, that creates the anger and that's where and what these immigrants do is they're used to being around their own people, so they create little suburbs. Yes. They create their own little living environment where they're all together.
Acclimatization. America is the most acclimatized place in the world.
We're a melting pot.
Yeah, there's no place. Listen, that's the big issue that Sweden had. Okay, when they were letting in, they felt bad. They were letting in the refugees from like the Middle East and different areas. And basically what ended up happening is they started having these zones that you couldn't even go into. That was all one.
Oh, wow. They marked it off.
Group of people, and they didn't want like the Swedish people coming in there. Like you would get attacked.
The natives.
Whereas in America, is there areas that happens? Sure. But it's not
to that extent.
For the most part, it's everything's integrated. Like you don't walk into, I mean, well, maybe now because there's such a huge migrant problem, which we didn't talk too much about yet. But before the whole issue, if you walked in New York City, like there's most people are of different races, right?
Right.
So you're walking right along them, and you're not really even thinking twice. Now maybe now with the migrant thing, you might be thinking twice a little more. But back 15 years ago, you weren't. You would walk around and you go. Yeah.
But think about this right now. So we're sort of on that DEI talk or inclusion, equity. Think about the office, USAID, USAID. Okay, so that's one of the offices that were broken down by Doge. Okay, so the Department of what's Doge stand for? I can't remember.
Government.
Yeah.
Government. Efficiency.
Right, efficiency. So bottom line, the USAID they operate the USAID federal branch of this government.
Yeah.
$30 billion budget. Okay, they have a $30 billion budget. Here's where the budget goes. None of it goes basically to the United States. They work with more overseas, dropping money in different areas of the world that may be affected by. They say that they're helping to stave out malaria and all these diseases. They're giving money to these organizations. Here's some of the budget. Okay, $8 million will now be paid to a group in South Africa studying HIV amongst sex workers and transgenders.
Well, doesn't that kind of speak for itself?
$38 million to Chinese labs to study COVID in Wuhan. This was the funding that was happening over the years that allowed them to develop the virus in Wuhan. $1.5 million for a Serbian LGBTQ group to advance DEI in the Serbian workforce.
We paid to have COVID developed?
We basically did. $2.5 million for electric vehicles in Vietnam.
Why would we go to Vietnam for that?
Why would you put electric vehicles in Vietnam with no charging stations? $25 million.
Oh, yeah, there's not a lot of Teslas in Vietnam.
Yep. $32,000 to Peruvian trans comic book program. So they had a comic book program there. We got to make some comic books.
That's why I said I want to make one of these with you. We'll start one.
And $500,000 to expand atheism in Nepal. Now, does anyone know where Nepal is? The only Nepal I know is the movie The Golden Child.
Middle East.
Do you remember the movie Golden Child with Eddie Murphy? And he had to fly. To Nepal. He had to fly to Nepal to get that sword or whatever it was over there. And he was by the security guard. Nimsi, right? So that's
what they're spending the money on.
Wow. Well, that's some of that out of that department.
That's a waste.
What it is here's what pisses me off about that. Yes, it's taxpayer money, okay? But it's taxpayer money that's not going to help our people.
It's not helping American people.
Okay? No. You can't help anyone else until you help yourself first.
Yes.
Okay? And so that's where the problem comes with all these budgetary expenses from all these different sections that is being opened up right now. I mean, honestly, it's a joke when you start reading, okay, what has been given away by this country year after year after year. And then it goes to the Treasury Department, and the Treasury Department doesn't even
rubber stamp.
They just stamp it. Bang, 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 bang. And they stamp it all and they give it away.
Yeah.
They just give it away. So why would anyone be upset?
Yeah.
That we're trying to trim the fat.
Yeah.
You have to. Well, everybody on the left is upset because we're going to take away all these needy programs for everyone else.
Right.
What about us?
Right. That we don't have.
That's where the problem lies.
Yeah. They're upset about Nepal. So let me ask you this. All the stuff that Trump is doing with immigration, 2 months from now, are we going to be satisfied that the illegals have been removed and ICE has stepped up the border control from Mexico and Canada?
2 months is nowhere near enough what's needed to round up over 1 million criminal illegals. Now yes, every illegal is criminal. Here's where I think this administration will be making a mistake.
Well, they're going to decriminalize it.
No,
they won't.
No, they won't do that. But what they're doing is whether you crossed illegally and then committed atrocious crimes and are here, or whether you crossed illegally and you're just working at a construction site and trying to feed your family or doing whatever, without crime, they're going to kind of balance those people out the same. I would hope not. And hopefully it would be a great show of faith to the country that they wouldn't do that. If they
let them stay, you're saying.
Right. Give them some kind of a temporary visa.
Yeah.
So they're here. We can track you.
Right.
You get a social security number. You pay taxes. And then work towards your citizenship.
It's on the up and up.
Granted, that's millions of people. Okay. But if you haven't committed a crime inside this country, not just crossing illegally, I know that's a crime, but if you haven't committed anything inside this country, then we've got to have some sort of leniency towards them because they have been part of our workforce
for years.
They have been assimilated. Okay. And everyone does deserve that chance. Now, they deserve the chance normally coming through legally. But maybe this is a one-time sweep. We get rid of the trash and we keep who we want that are good. And we give them some sort of process to be a citizen.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, our borders are closed. I mean, I think in the long run, you're going to see minimal illegals coming through.
So Dave, just how long realistically do you think it will take to see a difference made as far as illegals with getting rid of them? And then the borders fortifying and not letting them in to where we actually see a difference in this country.
Well, I think you're already having a difference from that standpoint. If you look at the numbers, they already come out with that. There's less.
Yeah. That's why I said 2 months. We'll know in 2 months if they're on the right track. Right?
And we're deporting almost 1,000 a day right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think that we're already on that track. The question is, how far are they going to be able to go and how many people are going to get out and how many people will they be able to stop from coming across?
Right.
And will that be, hopefully that doesn't get put on the back burner at some point if there are other issues that come up. And I think that's a big thing. So I think you're going to see it continue to really improve. I think within the next few months, it's just going to be a seamless thing where you're going to see less people coming across and less of that stuff of an issue. For example, in my community, I'm sure some of the people who work our community yards and stuff like that are probably illegal. I don't know. But my guess is that unless they're doing something crazy, they're probably not, shake them down, or if they're not, as long as they're not affiliated with somebody that is, not going to shake them down. But you will see a good amount of those people that are problems be gone. And I think that's what Frank talked about. That's important because
that's most important.
A deterrent to the rest of the people that are here. That, hey, I better get in the up and up. I would bet my bottom dollar that anybody who is here that is illegal is already trying to prop themselves up. The other issue, there was something I've seen a few of it, and I'm curious Frank's reaction to it. But in Dallas, I see all the Mexican flags going around and them harassing people, the protesting, and I don't know if that's actually Mexican.
Go back. If you're wearing your Mexican flag, it's got to be better there than here. Yeah,
that's what I don't understand. So why wouldn't they be waving they're burning the American flag and waving?
Right.
Why wouldn't they
burning them?
Yeah, they should. It shouldn't be the other way around. If you want to say,
LA, they burnt the flag yesterday. They dropped it in the highway there. Dave, and here's one thing we got to clear up right away with everyone. They are not going into the schools and taking children. Okay, I know that the news reported it. I know that teachers screamed out loud. I know they screamed. What did it was Joe Clark? Remember Joe Clark and Lean on Me? Yes. Code 7, or whatever he would scream out there. They're all supposed to lock the doors. It's not happening, folks. Okay, they're not going after the children. All right.
They used to call me Crazy Joe, and now they call me Batman.
So a school in Chicago, middle school in Chicago, called the news, had them come down right away. They said that ICE pulled up and they ran into the schools. They were looking to take the children.
Just grabbing kids.
Right.
They were kidnapping him.
And the teachers were, they're puffy chest teachers. Oh, we stood protected
tall.
our children.
We stood tall.
Then they go and find and do the investigation. It was Secret Service that came into the school because they were actually there to protect an important asset or something. So they were called to protect a child or protect someone there, and the teachers mistook that for ICE. Like ICE are coming in dressed up like Men in Black.
Yes.
Are you serious?
Well, that's what they think. Yeah.
But that's the problem. See, that's the problem.
It's a huge problem.
It's a media. Why would the media even put that out as a story if they don't do the background investigations to make sure
the media is
because
propaganda.
they're in with the liberal left mind thought process.
Well, 100% they are. They always have been.
So I just want to reinforce to everyone here: they're not taking the children. They don't work to the bottom up. They work at the top level of scum first, and then they work themselves down. So be rest assured, your child is okay at school.
Safe if you're an illegal.
Right? They're not. ICE is not going to pull the kid out, put a gun to his head, and go, "Where are your parents?"
Well, then throw them in cages.
Right. But that's what everyone expects. That's what they see. They're dumb.
I know
They're dumb.
That's my point.
Right. But you know what?
They should have to pass test of vote.
Some of it's willful ignorance. Meaning,
right.
Willful ignorance.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm willful. I'm willful. Hey,
and don't forget now, Panama too. How about that tough nation of Panama that didn't want to negotiate in the beginning? They have the treaty that they signed with China. Well, first of all, they have a treaty they signed with the U.S. and no one else is supposed to have sovereign control in that pathway, that waterway. And China dropped them $4 billion in a contract saying that they can work the canal, and they have like 3 or 4 stations where Chinese guys are working the fucking Panama Canal. Not happening anymore. Marco Rubio went down there, negotiated a little bit with them, told them, listen, don't F around with the U.S.
Yeah, absolutely.
And bottom line right now, they will not renew anything with China as far as taking money for them to have control stations along the canal. And that problem be ended. How about the president of Colombia? President of Colombia said, we are no way taking these immigrants off the plane inside. We send
Did he have a necktie?
Trump says we're going to slap a 50% tariff on Colombia right overnight.
And
we send an envoy.
No problem, sir.
We send an envoy down there. They do a little bit of talking. The president of Colombia says, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Actually, let me send the presidential plane to get those Colombian immigrant illegals back to my country.
Oh.
So bottom line,
so it is working. His plan is working.
Here's the problem. Here, it's not a problem. It's actually unreal that all these other leaders of these countries, right, are trying to talk shit like Trump, but they can't.
Oh no,
Nobody
can spit it like Trump.
Trump knows he can talk as much shit as he wants because bottom line, they're going to cave.
Of course,
they're going to come to the table. They're going to make an agreement.
They'll come with their hand out.
Exactly.
Goods. They need American services.
Give me more
everything.
Porridge.
They need everything. They need money. We're giving away to the LGBTQs. They need money.
Yes.
Yeah. We know what? Yes. What's going to happen is they're going to make agreements, and we ain't going to send them no money. I think this is honestly, I think opening up the books is the greatest thing that has ever happened in this country because now we see how much shit is being thrown out there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I love that guy that you send me who's like
he's the Doge guy of the day. The Doge report of the day he sends out. It's fantastic.
$2 million to the Aid Society for Chickens Learning to Hatch. Gone.
Right. It's
literally things like
HIV study in South Africa.
It's
really?
People don't realize it. It's insane.
Nepal.
It's
South Africa. Like this blows my mind.
It's insane. I don't know how people don't look at this and
they could spend that on homelessness and food.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
And Teslas.
Here's and this list is everywhere now, but they're showing the savings that they're taking out the garbage from different departments. Department of Agriculture, they've cut 11 programs. They're saving $112 million. Right. Yeah, no, Department of Agriculture. Then let's see here. Here's another one. 15 programs. Department of Health and Human Services. And it's probably almost $60 million. So bottom line, all these departments that they're cutting out stuff that is not.
They're trimming the fat, like you said.
Not needed. Stuff that's not needed. Yeah. How about this one? Office of Personnel Management. Never heard of this office. I don't know what they manage. It looks like personnel, but it's Office of Personnel Management. Three departments are being cut, or 3 segments of it. So 3 contracts, being cut. $516 million in the Department of Personnel Management. Well, I don't even know what they do.
What about the guy that I got you the loan from? Do you think that?
I don't know, man. I didn't get much. I spent triple the amount. And they gave me nothing.
I know. That's what I'm saying. They got to get cut.
Yeah. No.
They didn't. They don't do anything.
They'll fund. Sure, they do. They give out. Yeah. They give out money. But I'm just saying these are things that people don't.
They've
look
been
at.
overlooked at for years.
They don't look at it because they hate Donald Trump.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's personal.
Even if the guy's right,
personal.
even if the guy's going to save you some money, even if the guy's going to trim the fat, they hate President Musk and President Trump.
Right.
Isn't it great how they say, Elon Musk, what do you think he is? President? I don't know if he's president, man, but
he carries
knows
a lot of weight.
He knows how to run some companies pretty good, and he opened up some books, and all of a sudden he finds a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense.
So that's all coming from him?
Wow. Twitter and his...
He has the running count every day. He has the running count of how many millions they're saving on Twitter every day.
And you ever follow End of Wokeness, that Twitter?
No, I don't. I'm not on Twitter.
No, Frank doesn't do Twitter.
You got to go on just to follow Elon and End of Wokeness.
Well, the libs of TikTok are the best. That's the best.
Libs of TikTok's good.
Libs of TikTok are the best.
Yeah, but people got to wake up. It's only we're coming up on week 3 now. This is only the 3rd week. So, and this guy's been and I'm sorry. Listen, if you think he's a racist, okay. I don't know. I don't see that angle. I apologize. I don't see the getting rid of certain DEI sections of it. I really think it's more against that small minority of DEIs that, we don't even know what they are anymore because they identify as 17 different things. So I don't think it's that section there. I don't think it's a war on it's not color, not a race war. That's just my personal opinion. I may be wrong. We may go 4 years and I may be wrong. And if I am, I will apologize and I will try to make reparations to whoever I've offended or hurt or something.
You're going to pay reparations.
I'm going to pay reparations.
Okay.
I'm just saying. But all I'm saying is I don't feel that angle is totally correct. I don't see the guy as a racist because how do you hang out with every black musician, entrepreneur, politician? They loved him until he said that, you know what, I'm going to go for the other party.
Right.
Because we've gotten out of control.
Right.
And then that was the beginning of the end. That was the beginning of the FBI being directed to meddle inside Trump's affairs. That was the beginning of the Steele dossier, the Steele dossier created by Hillary Clinton that allowed a 8-year spoof of Russian collusion that allows Adam Schiff to go on there and act like an asshole for 8 years and talk about it nonstop. I mean, if that guy isn't sued for slander, I don't know what should happen. He's already been what do they call it? Not disbarred. What do they call it when they censored? He's been censored in Congress. Yes. Yeah. So that means everything that comes out of his mouth means nothing. Yeah. So if he's censored in Congress, why is he in on these hearings?
Yeah. No.
That's another problem I don't understand. So there's a lot of shit I don't understand. I'm not a genius in this, but all I know is that bottom line, the guy has really he's had his nuts squeezed for 8 years.
I know he has. I know
and now I think he's coming back with fury. And then everyone, they criticize all his hires. They criticize all his cabinet. You know why?
They all were going to
This one's not qualified. That was not qualified. But you know what? He doesn't give a shit because he doesn't need qualifications.
No.
He needs loyalty. He needs people that are not going to stab him in the back like they did 8 years ago. Yep. Everyone he had in the cabinet basically stabbed him in the back one way or another.
Yes. Dave, let me ask you.
It was a lot harder for him when COVID came around too.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you this. So how long do you think it take? 4 years from now, I mean, when will you see a difference in your pocket? When will you see a difference in your pocket from all of this that's going on? The immigration, the inflation, all that stuff. How long do you think it will take before it's noticeable that your quality of life is better? Your quality of life is cheaper. Your housing payments are cheaper. Your sales tax are cheaper. You're making more money. How long do you think it'll take?
12 years.
No, I mean, is it within the 4-year range? Is it 2 years? Is it a year?
I think, again, my point that I made last week, if energy comes down,
yes,
all other costs come down
with it. That's the key.
So, the bird flu thing with the eggs, you just got to wait it out. It is what it is. We need more eggs produced in the correct way. Okay. But I think if energy comes down, you'll see other costs of everything across the board come down.
Okay.
What you're going to see now is you're going to see the U.S. ramp up on oil production.
Yes.
The U.S. is not going to, they're not going to F around anymore. They're going to ramp up oil production to those things, those freaking oil rigs are going to be going overtime. They're going to be going overtime.
That's the key. Dave, same with you? You think?
I agree. Yeah.
Energy. Okay. All right.
Very important to this whole process.
For another banner episode of Rebel Republic, you're either with us or you're against us. That's the bottom line.
I ain't gonna say that.
That's the bottom line. You either are.
You
The
don't gotta
voice
say
of
that.
reason.
We can slowly, just like the ad in the beginning shows.
We're teaching
We're
people.
going to teach.
We're
We're going to educate them. So it's
We're
going to take
educating
time.
them.
We're not
educating
forcing
them.
it.
I'm forcing it.
Right.
I'm forcing it.
Right.
I like to force it in. All right. For the voice of reason, Frank Cristiano, the coach, David Schuman. I'm Stephen Cully. This has been Rebel Republic. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade.
Yeah.
Take 2 oranges and wish Dave a happy birthday.
Hi, Ernie.